the answer key for Exponential Worksheet 1, and here's a bunch of important information that you need for this paper. So the amount of fertilizer in a landscaping company's warehouse decreases at a rate of 3% per week. The company started with 78,000 cubic yards of fertilizer in the warehouse. So we're going to find A and B and determine if this is growth or decay. Now the A value is the easiest. That is your starting value. That is going to be 78,000. Okay, that's how much they started off with. Now the B value depends on if this is growth or decay. But in this problem, they said that it's decreasing, so it's definitely decay. Now, whenever you're dealing with growth versus decay, to find the B value, that's either 1 plus or minus the rate. If you're talking about growth, your B value is adding the rate. If it's decay, it's subtracting. Okay, so I do need to find my rate. In this question, they said that there's 3%. But before you actually can use that R value, you've got to change it to a decimal. And the easiest way to do that is just to take that number and divide it by 100. So 3 divided by 100 gives me 0.03. Now, I know some other teachers teach this a different way. I know some of them do the DP, so decimal to percentage. So if you prefer to use that, here's how that would go. It started off as a percentage, so I would put my decimal right here. I want to move it to the left 2 places. So I would have that 3, put my decimal here, move it to the left 2 places, and then you'd have to put a 0 as a placeholder. Now, I find that a lot of people kind of have trouble with this. That's why I like to divide by 100. So we said that this is decay, which I guess I was supposed to write that instead of circle it. The B value is going to be 1 minus the rate. So that would be 1 minus the 0.03. And I highly recommend that you double check your answer because some people get this wrong simply because they try to do the subtraction in their head. So when I subtract that, I get 0.97. Question 2. A golf tournament starts with 8 people. Each round, 25% of the golfers are eliminated. So identify A, B, and C. Okay, this time they said our starting amount is 8 people. They said that the golfers are being eliminated, so they are decreasing the amount of them. So that means that once again, we are looking at decay. And if we're looking for decay, that means it's 1 minus the rate. So now let's go over here and deal with the rate. My rate is going to be 25%, which is the same thing as 25 divided by 100 whenever you change it to that decimal. So 25 over 100 is 0.25. So when I am using my 1 minus the 0.25, my B value should be 0.75. Okay, question 3. A student uses f of x equals 4 times 2.5 to the x power to show a balance in a savings account will increase over time. Identify A, B, and if it's growth or decay. Now in this one, they did tell us it's increasing, which lets us know right away that it is growth. But another way you could have figured that out is by looking at that number inside the parentheses. If it's bigger than 1, that's definitely exponential growth. So my A is my starting amount on the outside of the parentheses. B is what's being raised to the exponent, so this is 2.5. Number 4. Okay. 7 students initially completed an Algebra 1 project on the same day. So 7 students initially, so the beginning amount completed that. This function right here shows the daily increase of students completing this project. So identify A, B, and if it's growth or decay. Now they told us that it is increasing, which means that we are dealing with growth. But once again, you could have looked right here. That number is bigger than 1, so it has to be growth. A is the number that they started off with, 7 students initially. That's a word that means starting off with. And our B value is the one that's inside the parentheses, so 3.2. Number 5. Jose was working at a lab and studying bacteria in a petri dish. Jose started with 12 bacteria and noticed that they decayed at a rate of 35%. Okay. This time they told us that it is decaying, so that's going to be exponential decay. Which means whenever I'm finding my B value, we have to do 1 minus the rate. Okay, so my A value is the starting amount. They said he started with 12 bacteria. And if it's decaying, it is 35%. which is equal to 35 divided by 100, which is going to give us 0.35, just like that. So when I do 1 minus the 0.35 for my rate right there, it's 1 minus, I get 0.65. Okay, number 6. A particular type of cell quintuples in number every hour. Okay, if you do not know what that word means, you have the world of information at your fingertips. Look it up. Quintuples. That means a 5-fold number or amount, or a set of 5. That means that it is increasing by 5 times that amount, okay? So this is definitely going to tell us that we are dealing with growth. Now, they also told us that there is 1 cell initially. So 1 cell is our beginning amount. Quintuples means that it's being multiplied by 5, so that's definitely exponential growth. And the last 2 questions, number 7. In the exponential function, y is equal to ab to the x power. If b is a number that's between 0 and 1, then that means that the value of y is decreasing. It's decreasing as the x increases, and the graph represents a model of exponential decay. Last one. Now this time we've got our exponential function right here. If the b value is greater than 1, that means the value of y is increasing. As the value of x increases, and the graph represents a model of exponential growth.